Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I am Elizabeth Omoworare, a productivity strategist, lead execution coach at IGA Consulting. And today we are going to be talking about a call to excruciating growth. Why an upgraded version of you is the only version permitted to execute on that goal and project. Did you follow me last week? Were you on the live stream last week? If you come on the live stream, please say hello, introduce yourself in the comment section, confirm that you can see me, confirm that you can hear me. I am ready. Say ready, 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 right? Okay, let's dive straight in. So, a call to excruciating growth. What does excruciating growth mean? What does excruciating growth mean? Who can tell me? If you have an answer to that, drop it in the comment section. I would love to read from you. Okay, so let's dive straight in. There's a woman of God that I listened to, Apostle Isi Igeneba, and there was something she said that really stuck with me. She said, when God wants to make you wealthy, He gives you an experience and He expects you to mine that experience to extract the value that has been deposited and convert it to something valuable. God is interested in systems that create value. God is interested in systems that create value. And He expects us to steward our talents, our opportunities, our dreams, our encounters, and our visions. Wow, so profound, so profound. She says that when God wants to make you wealthy, He gives you an experience and He expects you to mine that experience to extract the value out of it. Now, if you're familiar with the parable of the talents in Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 down to 27 and 30, I'm just going to skim through the verses, right? Jesus was likened to a banker. No, he was likened to the master, the grandmaster, gave talents to some workers. To a man he gave 5 talents. To another he gave 2 talents. Pardon me. Hello, it's Mitos. Thank you for joining me. Please confirm you can hear me. Confirm you can see me. Okay. And so he gave one 5 talents, he gave another 2 talents, and he gave another 1 talent. And the Bible recorded those talents being their capacity. What does that tell you? It means that the master understood, he knew the capacity of each man. He understood that the man who had 5 talents would be able to multiply that. He had the capacity to multiply 5 talents. The man who had 2 talents was given 2 talents because the master knew he had the capacity to multiply 2 talents. Now, the man who was given 1 talent was given 1 talent because the master understood that he had the capacity to also multiply 1 talent, right? Okay, so okay, yeah. We could multiply 1 talent. Please confirm you can see me. Confirm you can see me. Confirm you can hear me. Okay, I think it's better now. Okay, yeah, so back to my story. What I was talking about, he gave to one, he gave 5 talents, to another he gave 2 talents, to another he gave 1 talent. And what did the master say? He traveled and came back at a certain time, at an opportune time, and he asked them. The man that he gave 5 talents had multiplied his talents from 5 to 10. The one he had given 2 talents had multiplied it from 2 to 4. But the one he gave 1 talent dug that talent in the ground. And what did the master say? He said that, why didn't you put that talent with the bankers? At least they would have made a profit from it instead of digging it into the ground. And then he said, oh, he started giving excuses here and there, blah 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 blah. The master is interested in value and multiplication. That's why I said in the beginning, the master is invested in value and multiplication. So the master is interested in value and system multiplication, system upgrade. God has given each and every one of us talents, each and every one of you on this live stream, even me. God has given me talents, God has given you talents, and He expects that you multiply those talents by the time He comes back. But I want you to piggyback to the story I told. The man who multiplied 5 talents to 10, it was the version of him that that collected those 5 talents that was able to multiply it to 10 talents. No, there are certain things that he did. If you listen to my live stream last week, I gave the analogy of a farmer that your belief drives behavior. There's a way a farmer behaves. So he took those 5 talents, acted like a farmer, multiplied it, and gave, and he was able to multiply the 5 talents that he was given. And so I also talked about stewardship, the value system, and the multiplication system. So there's stewardship, there's a value system, and the multiplication system. That's how God sees each and every one of us. Okay? So the one servant, the worker that dug the 1 talent that he was given in the ground, he didn't understand the concept of, yes, he understood the concept of value, multiplication, stewardship, and upgrade. But there was something that stopped him in his tracks. It was resistance. Resistance stopped him in his tracks because he started giving excuses. That's what resistance does. It keeps telling you that you are not ready. It tells you that you're not good enough. It tells you that there is a whole lot of things you don't have in place yet. And so you're not fit. You're not ready to execute on that project. You cannot multiply that value that's been given to you. But there's something you must do with resistance. Resistance is your North Star. So stay with me. So that farmer was beaten down by resistance. The one servant worker who dug his talent in the ground was beaten down by resistance. Black and blue, right? Okay, so let's go back to Mark chapter 4, the parable of the sower. He says that the sower went out and he started planting seed. Some on the rocky ground, some fell on the rocky ground, some fell by the roadside, some fell among stones. And he said that some, the birds picked them up and they couldn't bear fruit. For some, because the ground, the soil was too shallow, it couldn't really grow, it couldn't get into the ground to bear fruit, and then it withered and died. For some, the thorns had choked the life out of it. That's resistance rearing its head. But it also talked about the seed that was planted and gave an increase of 30-fold, 60-fold, and 100-fold. What do you think happened to that seed? The soil was ready, the ground was ready. It pulled in nutrients from its environment to ensure that it could multiply itself. And except a seed falls to the ground and dies, it cannot multiply itself. That's the excruciating growth that will be demanded of you once you have a goal or a project to execute. The version of you who got that idea. Remember, ideas are everywhere. Ideas are everywhere. Okay, someone said it's lagging. Is it still lagging? Just confirm for me. So ideas are everywhere, right? But it's not everybody that picks it up and runs with it. Ideas are everywhere because your spirit. Ideas are everywhere, so they float around. It's the person who has prepared their soil or their ground and is ready. He's ready to execute on that growth. It's that person that runs with that idea, that runs with that seed, and is able to multiply. Just like the worker who had who was able to multiply 5 talents and he got 10. The other guy who was able to multiply 2 talents and he got 4. And what did he say? He said, take from the one who had 1 talent and buried it and give it to the one who has 10 talents. To him who has capacity, more will be added. What does that mean? You need to build capacity to execute on your project and your goal. You need to build capacity. You need to grow. Success is not just in the results that come through that process. It's who you become through that process, through the course. You have to stay through the course. So if you're still on the live stream, please just confirm that you can see me, confirm you can hear me, and the video is no longer live. Okay, so let's go back. For you to step into excruciating growth, there are a couple of questions you must ask yourself, right? So the first is, what do I want to achieve? You write it down. What do I want to achieve? You have to write that goal down. That's you giving it permission to exist in the earth realm. So you write it down. Let me tell you a story. I went to write my books, Journey to Improvement and Dimensions of Life, right? Journey to Improvement and Dimensions of Life, Journey to Improvement, this book and the other one. I don't have it here now. So what did I do? I wrote it down. I wrote down my goal. I said I wanted to accomplish this goal and I wrote it down. This book is about 264 pages. It's about two, I don't know if you can see it, but it's about 264 pages, right? For those that write, or anybody, if you're here and you've written a book, just drop me a hi in the comment section. It takes a lot because it's a creative process. It takes a lot from you. And I was like, how am I going to do this? How would I get this done? Guess what I did? Can you guess what I did? Can you guess what I did? I wrote it down. So what do you want to achieve? You have to write it down. The next is, what must I let go of to achieve this? Remember, there is a couple of questions that you must answer for you to step into that phase of excruciating growth. So the first is, what do I want to achieve? You write it down. In my case, I want to write a book and a journal. The next question is, what must I let go of to achieve this? So excruciating growth, that the version of you that receives the goal is not the version that executes it. So if you're somebody that has never written a book before, or you're somebody who is overweight and you want to shed excess weight, right? It means there are certain things you need to do. What must I let go of to achieve this? Comfort, procrastination, excuses. Resistance has reared its head again. Resistance is that force that pulls you back anytime you want to step up higher into a creative process. Resistance always rears its head. It happens to the best of us. It happens to everybody. Resistance will beat you black and blue if you don't fight it. Okay? So the call to excruciating growth. To achieve this: comfort, procrastination, excuses, some friends who will not allow you step into that creative process. So the time you've been spending with them, you have to let that go. You have to set your priorities right. You have to belong to the environment that spark up the energy and momentum that you need to birth that process or goal, that goal or project. Who must I become? That's the third question you must answer. Who must I become? Okay? A disciplined version of you who has self-respect, who is not ready to take excuses and would stick to the work, to the job, to the project until it is done. You finish what you start. Can you see what I'm talking about? The call to excruciating growth. So self-respect means that when I give myself an appointment, I step up and I honor that appointment. When I set an alarm and I say I'm going to write at 9 a.m., once my alarm rings, I start writing at 9 a.m. It's going to demand a lot of from you, because there will be days when you don't feel like writing, but you have to write because you have self-respect, because you honor yourself, because you are building self-discipline, because you have a target and a goal. You must step up and achieve this goal. You must rise up to the occasion. Pull up everything that is on the inside of you and step up to the occasion, right? So you do what you say you do, and you first have to grow self-discipline. You have to grow self-discipline and decide that I'm going to step up to these assignments that I've committed myself to. So what do I need? You have to count the cost. The master says, who amongst you wants to execute a project, wants to start build a house, I will down to count the cost. You don't just build a house. You have to get an architect to lay out the master plan, the blueprint, how the house will be, where the rooms will position, where the lounge will be, how everything is going to work out. So it gives you you get a framework as to how the house would look, right? And you begin to imagine, and then you start planning. Okay, this is the amount I will need. These are the people that will help me execute on this project. These are the systems I will need to keep this running. So you write out what you need to make it work, the resources you need, the people that you need, the experts that you need, and you start planning. And this is where you have to depend on God, because when God gives you an idea, He expects you to come back to Him for the blueprint on how to execute that idea. Okay? When David wanted to build the temple for God, what did God say? He said that his hands had too much blood and that He wasn't going to allow him to build a temple for him, but that his son would of building that temple. So he had specifications on how to build the temple, and he handed that over to Solomon. Okay, so you have to go back to God for the blueprint on how that project was executed. So the fifth question is, who do I need? You need an accountability system. You need a habit contract. You need a high dose of integrity and self-respect. These things are critical and important. You need an accountability system. It's that system that will hold your hand, especially on those days that your energy can no longer carry you. So you need that healthy system to keep you going. And that's why they say, if you're amongst five wise people, you're the sixth person that is going to be wise. If you're amongst five foolish people, you're the sixth person that is going to be foolish. Your environment is a big deal. Your environment is a big deal. And that's where IGA comes in. IGA Consulting is your goals accountability hub. I'm going to talk about that much later. Okay? This is a system of accountability that helps you to power through your goals within a 90-day period. That's 12 weeks. Okay? So we'll talk about that later. Ensure that you get into IGA if you have a goal, and that's all of us. There is that thing that is talking in your heart that is giving you sleepless nights, that doesn't allow you to have a good sleep at night. There is a goal that you must execute, and the time is now. You don't have control of time, so start what you can with the time that you have currently. Okay? So what do I need? That's the fifth question. An accountability system, a habit contract, which makes the pain of inaction obvious. If you say to yourself that I want to shed some weight, and you sign up at a gym, you have to sign a habit contract which makes the pain of inaction obvious. So for a person who is overweight, you say to yourself that this is not going to help pumping the blood to all the corners of your body, right? So fat is a killer. You have to paint that picture of mind in mind, so that you are able to visualize the pain of inaction every day you decide to fall back and not obey the habit contract that you have written. Okay? And you must get people to sign it as well, people who you look up to. And that's why an accountability system is very, very powerful. Okay? Because it's research says that a lot of times we want to impress people. So we don't want the person to, start say, this person is not truthful to their words, this person is not disciplined, and all of that. Get that person into your accountability system so that you're able to power through. Because trust me, those days will come when you don't want to put the sickle into the ground to do the work that you're meant to do. So that's the fifth question. Finish what you start. The sixth question is, what is in my capacity to execute today? So circling back to my story on when I wanted to write the book, I asked myself, there were so many challenges, so many things that came up. At the point I got tired, I had to get an accountability partner, and she would always ask me, what have you written today? How many words have you written today? How many words have you written this week? And she was somebody that doesn't take doesn't take excuses, right? So I was right to pick her as my accountability partner, and she would check up on me every time to ask, have you done this? Have you worked on your book? How far have you gone? And all of that. And it kept me on my toes. I still had a system of accountability that helped me push through. Remember, I have a healthy dose of self-respect and I'm disciplined, but I still needed to push myself because, trust me, there will be days when you will not be strong enough to power through that goal, that project that you want to execute. So you need a fail-proof accountability system to help you. And like I said, there's something in your capacity to execute. Okay, let me just take some messages I can see. Esther Issa, hi sis, thank you for joining me. Wolves fan, will you be my friend? Okay, there's a criteria to that. Okay, so thank you for joining me. Please just confirm if it's still lagging. I saw some comments saying that the stream was lagging. Confirm that it's fine now. Them after the live stream, drop your questions for me as well. So let me run fast. Okay, time is fast spent. So this is, you must reinvent yourself, and a lot of times people are expecting others to say, to cheer you up, to say, oh, how is this going to go? You're doing well, doing well, you're doing fantastic, and all of that. A lot of times you're the first cheerleader on that project or goal that you want to execute. So you have to, beef up, cheer up yourself in the beginning, cheer up yourself and say, I'm doing well. That's why it's good to keep a growth journal. See your growth, right? Pattern of your growth, and you're able to celebrate yourself, because sometimes when you're neck deep in these projects, you don't get to see the work that you have put in. You just see what's not working, how you're dilly-dallying, how you're lagging behind, what you're not doing, and all of that. Sometimes you need to celebrate yourself so that your subconscious mind has something to hold on to power through those seasons. Okay, so you must understand that the person who executes the project is different from the person who receives the project or idea. The person who executes is an upgraded version of the person who received that idea. Okay? So this is why you must reinvent yourself, your current version, in order to succeed. It's who you become on the path of success that signifies your capacity to resist resistance. So do you have faith enough in yourself? The master had faith in those workers, and that's why he gave to one 5 talents, he gave to another 2 talents, he gave to another 1 talent. He had faith in their talent. Do you have faith in yourself? Do you believe in yourself? Right? You must overcome resistance, and that's where the reinvention mandate comes to play. The reinvention mandate says that when you it says that you must mine the gold and precious metals hidden in your encounters, your opportunities, your dreams, and your vision. That idea or desire that will not leave you is asking you to reinvent yourself, is asking you to upgrade. Okay? That nagging pain and discomfort that is always keeping you from sleeping at night is a call to growth, is a call to reinvention, is a call for you to come up higher. Okay? So, as I round up quickly, if you're familiar with the story of Nehemiah, Nehemiah was in a conversation with a couple of people, and he asked a deep question. He said, what's happening back home in Jerusalem? And they told him that the walls have been broken down, the people, everybody has left Jerusalem, the Israelites have been, the Jews have been dispersed, and all of that. What happened next? Nehemiah wept. Nehemiah wept. The Bible recorded that Nehemiah wept, and he went to God and asked God to help him, to empower him. Remember, Nehemiah was like a cupbearer meant to be built right now. Idea that will not leave you is meant to push you to rebuild the wall. If you followed my Instagram IG post yesterday, I asked you to document your excuses. What are your excuses? There are a million of them. What are your excuses? Document them. Write it down. Remember, write your idea down. Write your excuses down and ask yourself, is this really worth it? Are these excuses sufficient enough to stop me from stepping into my creative genius? Remember, we are all creative beings. You are made in the image and likeness of God. So we are all creative beings. You are creating through your words, you are creating through your thoughts, you are creating through your conversations. Everything that you do, you're a creative being. Okay? And that's why resistance always comes to stop you in your tracks from fully stepping into your identity, who you truly are. So what did Nehemiah do? He prayed to God and he took steps. He met the king and asked the king for letters, for resources, right? He prayed before he approached the king. You have to pray before you step out in faith, because resistance will rear its head. Resistance will always say to you that you are not enough, you're not ready, you don't have what it takes, but you have to power through. Okay? So resistance is that opposition, that force that comes to stop everything into an upgraded version of themselves. And so what did Nehemiah do? Something I really want to highlight here. Nehemiah got the letters from the king, he got the resources that he needed, and he kept his plans hidden. You have to hide your idea and your project until it's ready, it's matured enough to come to fruition. If somebody casts their seed too early and the seed is not able to really die to multiply itself, Nehemiah hid his seed. Remember, Sanballat and Tobias, even though they were Jews, if you study the book of Nehemiah, it will tell you that their lineage, they were Jews from their lineage, but they had been corrupted by the system of the government. But Nehemiah understood that he was a restorer of the broken down walls. And so he took up the challenge. He took up the challenge and rose to the call, right? To be the one who would restore the walls that were broken down. So be on your guard against opposition, mockery, threats, and opposition. You have to be on your guard. Sometimes it even comes from your inner thoughts, your inner voice, saying to you that you can't do it, you're not good enough, you must rise up to the challenge. Rise up to the challenge, right? So be on your guard for the opposition. Do not expose yourself too early. There is a wall that you must rebuild, a gate that you must erect. Okay? And if you read Nehemiah, if you study the book of Nehemiah, you discover that everybody had a gate that they were meant to erect. They had their names. It says somebody was meant to erect the fish gate, somebody was meant to erect this gate, somebody was meant to erect that gate. So there's a gate with your name on it. You have to rise up to the challenge so you don't live life regretting why you didn't step up to the challenge. And that's each and every one of us. Okay? So let me speak briefly about the war of art, which is resistance. So that's from the book by Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art. If you don't have it, go get a copy today. If you don't have it, go get a copy today. It's powerful. It's a powerful read. It talks about the enemy called resistance, and it says that you have the default life and you have the unlived life. The unlived life is that part of you that is on your inside, always trying to, giving you those ideas to say, work on this project, get started with this thing. But a lot of people get beaten down because resistance rears its head. It's because we are creative beings and we have the capacity to create originals. But each time resistance rears its head, You can liken it to an internal distraction that wants to stop you from stepping into your full identity, stepping into who you were meant to be. Because if you decide to work that project or that idea or that goal, of you that would emerge at the end. So why not step up to the challenge of excruciating growth? And he gave an example. He said it was easier for Hitler, Adolf Hitler, to start World War II than to face a blank canvas. My God. Because it was said that he wanted to be an artist. He even enrolled in a school of architecture, but he never became an artist. This is how to deal with resistance. Resistance, it's can be likened to that pull, that pull that you feel when you want to step into your creative genius, that thing that stops you in the track. So if I set an alarm that I want to ride a body that is fit to carry the mandate, who am I to or execute this goal? Who am I to start this business? That's resistance, but it's your North Star. If you feel resistance in that area, there's a message that it's passing across to you. It's saying to you that when you execute on that goal or on that project, there's a dopamine high that you feel. There's a way you feel satisfaction. So that's how you detect resistance, okay? It comes in form of self-doubt. It says you don't have anything to say. It says you're not talented enough. It says you have too much to lose. You must embrace it. You must embrace that resistance that you feel to be able to overcome it. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you all with me? We're rounding up, okay? You must overcome that resistance that you feel to be able to overcome it. So, interest plus anxiety, excitement, and terror, a scary role for an actor. These things will come up when you want to step into that creative genius. So, what do? You have the courage wolf and you have the fear wolf. You have to constantly feed the courage wolf. And courage wolf demands that you have self-discipline and a healthy dose of self-respect. So when you say to yourself that I'm going to write this book, you sit with 50 words. I'm going to write a line. I would write until I'm exhausted. Just write. Do the work. If you want to start a business, give yourself a target that every day at 9 a.m. I'm going to go through the rigor of research to get much information on this I want to start or this start. And that's why the accountability system helps you to power through on those days that you lose momentum. Okay? So feed your courage wolf by having a calendar, a schedule, ensuring that your environment is primed to help you really achieve that goal. Do not cheat the world of your contribution. Give us what you have got. And this is where I talk about It's Your Goals Accountability Hub. So it's a 90-day program, Unstoppable Me. That's how I tagged it, Unstoppable Me. You are going to power through on your goals when you join IGA. You'll be able to execute your goals. You have me holding your hand you no longer have momentum to put in the work. You will power through that goal through a 90-day period or a 12-week period. Okay? So I hope this has been beneficial to you. We kick off for cohort 6 on the 13th of April 2026. That's how many days from now? Today is the 8th of April. So we have like 5 days to the start of cohort 6 of IGA. I hope this has been beneficial to you. I hope I've been able to break down how you must step up to excruciating growth. I hope I've been able to break down how you must reinvent yourself. I hope I've been able to help you with tips on how to deal with resistance, right? It's important that you feel that gratification after achieving that goal, after executing on that project, it's important that you have that feeling, so you have some sort of proof or evidence for your subconscious for your next project, because we are on a growth spectrum, we are growing. And even if it's not about you executing on a project or a goal, there's a person you must become, a version of you that you must become or evolve into in Q2, right? Maybe a more disciplined version, a version of you that really has self-respect, a version of you that tries to focus deeply on their spirituality, a version of you that wants to build their network, you that want to accelerate their career, a version of you that wants to step into a higher version of yourself. I hope this has helped. I don't want to keep this live stream too long. Let me check if I have any questions, and any comments. Thank you all for joining me today. Until next time, do sign up for IGA. The doors shut on the 12th of April, 11 p.m. WAT. So do ensure that you sign up for IGA. Okay? Do ensure that you give us what you have got. Do not cheat the world of your contribution, like I said. Okay. Thank you all for joining me today. This is where I sign out.